Welcome to Jamie Taylor Podcast. This is my second episode of the podcast here on this November 22nd, 2015. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about what's wrong and what's right in the world of professional wrestling. My topic is what happened at the Montreal Screwjob in 1997 Survivor Series between the WWE Champion Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Besides Vince McMahon and DX, was there anyone else involved in what happened at Survivor Series? And I look at and when I look and watch the match, and of course, if you've never watched the Survivor Series of 1997, go to WWE Network and subscribe to it and look back and relive and rewatch that match because I mean it was a great championship match, but the finish of that match just didn't add up. For one, Bret Hart didn't tap out, and secondly, is there's more to this story than anybody else would want to believe. And of course, my answer to this topic is related to the topic. Is You got to look at the whole picture. Was the referee in it, or could it be a corporate thing, or Bret Hart himself that was in on it? But we all know, and it will go down in WWE history, that Bret Hart got screwed out of the WWE Championship at the 1997 Survivor Series, and could be the reason why Bret Hart decided to go to WCW for one thing. For is that we all know there's more to this story about what happened at the 1997 Survivor Series, and I think there is. I mean, when you look at the whole picture of it, and you look at the facts to it, was there a corporate thing? Was it Bret Hart's reaction, knew and knowing that Bret Hart was going to leave the WWE, or what? And I'm also agreeing why not drop the title on Monday Night Raw instead of doing it in spite of Montreal. And I think it was the wrong thing to do when you think. And I don't think when you look at it or watch the 1997 Survivor Series, I think it went down completely wrong. And I would and I don't and as far as agreeing to something, I don't blame Bret Hart to what he done damaging a lot of the equipment. But we all know, to me, that I think Bret Hart, in fact, was right, and therefore I wouldn't have dropped the title, not in my own home country. I would have dropped it the next night on Raw, or waiting and see what the other pay per view could do. But as far as that goes, and there's no way in heck that I would drop the title. And I don't think as much or blame the referee to the extension, but I do in fact agree to the distinguish of what could happen. And when you look at the scenario of the match of itself, that could tell you the whole match that was great until, like I said, until the finish of the match. And when the finish went down with Bret never tapped out, Bret never quit. Bret never said I quit, and we know with Vince McMahon and all others. And I think to me, to me the way that I express that, and I think that Bret Hart was not involved in that conclusion. I think more so on the WWE front office and Shawn Michaels. What actually really took place? What could it be that if Shawn didn't do this, that or what? So, but I think it was wrong. Bret Hart should have never been able to drop the title, not in his hometown. And another thing for this topic here at this podcast, I want to look back on the on the Undertaker streak that ended at WrestleMania 30 against the Beast Brock Lesnar. If if anybody seen that match or hadn't seen that match, you need to sign up for the WWE Network and WrestleMania 30 to see the match. When I watched that match, to me, that wasn't the Undertaker that I know. Brock destroyed the Undertaker at WrestleMania, but to me, Triple H couldn't say it any better when he was the guest on the Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast, and I quote, "This what Triple H said, referring to the streak of the Undertaker. It is like one of them home run records. It should not have been broken. And now my candid comments on this is I would like to know how far the streak will go, and couldn't this also mean the Undertaker slowing down a lot in the ring? If watch the SummerSlam match, you can see the Undertaker is not as quick as it used to be. Maybe it's time for the Undertaker to hang it up. Will they have a WrestleMania 32 for the Undertaker? And looking back on the illustrious 25 years is a long time. And of course, like tonight, which is being the 29th annual WWE Survivor Series, and it also marks the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker. Of course, and it was 25 years ago that The Undertaker debuted at Survivor Series. And and the streak, I was, and I wouldn't say as shocked at the streak or the shock of anything else. And because I knew some down the line that somebody was going to be able to beat the streak. And it was Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is a brute of a man. I mean, he is absolutely a brute. And I don't think there'll be anybody that's going to be able to hand out as as much as things as the times got tough in the WWE, and while everybody else was jumping ship, and the Undertaker actually stayed in the WWE. So the Undertaker is very loyalty, and watching the going what and especially watching the match that's going to be coming up at Survivor Series, teaming up with his brother Kane, meeting the two members of the Wyatts. And to me, if the Undertaker and Kane were able to get a couple more people, that'd make a heck of a traditional Survivor Series match. I don't, and when you really think about it, and I'm always about traditional and and everything else, and I don't think or I don't see anything that's going to be a very promising as to what's going to happen in the Survivor Series tonight. I mean, you have Charlotte and Paige tonight. You have the Brothers of Destruction coming up tonight. The semifinals in the tournament coming up, and I couldn't believe that Brock Lesnar wasn't involved in that tournament because of the fact is that Brock is on a roll. I mean, you got to think Brock coming off of a huge Hell in a Cell match against the likes of the Undertaker, and I want to a quote on exactly was there too much blood involved because we know that the Brock was bleeding and there was a lot of controversial involvement in that, and that the own chairman Vince McMahon was actually upset because of the entire scenario, the entire too much blood content involved. So I think that if you're going to have a violent match, you got to limit it of what things you can do and the things that you can't do, and to not only to save yourself but save the other WWE superstar that's competing inside. Because you got to remember, definitely not in the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression era, the Universe era now, and so many eras of coming up. I think that'll be a great topic coming up later on as to which of the eras provide the best and the brightest superstars in the WWE. But back to tonight's Survivor Series, I think as watching, the Survivor Series now compared to the Survivor Series in the 80s flat out suck because there's no involved in traditional things. I mean, we need to have a Survivor Series is all about survival. It's to coalition of teams to make the humongous, the greatest spectacular Survivor Series of all time. And I mean, I have seen some great World Series. I've seen some great Super Bowls, and I've seen some really great WrestleManias. I've seen some great SummerSlams, but I'm also all about tradition. These newer type pay-per-views just need to get the heck out of here. I mean, they need to bring in Backlash, Judgment Day, a lot of these other great WWE pay-per-views that I've watched over the years were some of the greatest pay-per-view matches that I could ever really think about. But I think that Survivor Series to me is all about survival, whether it's in a tag team survival or what. It's to assemble the greatest feuds of all time, and it brings to me when the very first Survivor Series ever took place in '87, and you take the feud that Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan had. That feud kept on building and building and building and building to the top, and then comes out with the Survivor Series, and to me that was a great feud because you can take the everybody in that era that were involved in a Survivor Series match. And then you got the Hulk Hogan side. Everybody that has been a part on Hulk Hogan's side was involved in the Survivor Series match. And when 87 Survivor Series came, was an absolutely a great build-up. Unfortunately, the Hulkamanias actually was beaten during during that time frame. I mean, I was absolutely great. And the final, and of course the let's see here, and of course to the Brock Lesnar and the Suplex City. Man, I love watching Brock Lesnar compete in the ring because you don't know who's going to Suplex City. And watch the match at Madison Square Garden between Brock Lesnar and the Big Show, and watching how Brock got up after those big choke slams, and unbelievable. Then a few seconds, then it was on to Suplex City, and I couldn't believe on how many of these were. Then an F5 on a Big Show, and Brock Lesnar goes on to win at Madison Square Garden. It was a great match, and I do believe sometime in 2016 or maybe sooner that Brock will once again be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And I would like to see Seth Rollins and Brock go one on one sometimes. When it doesn't happen, you get I will be watching the match if it goes down, or what other plans they have for Brock Lesnar. You know, there's always a lot of talk about what's the thing going on with Brock Lesnar, you know. And I mean, I was surprised when I was on the WWE Network, or not WWE Network, but WWE.com, and found out that Seth Rollins was injured. And looking at the tournament, and I noticed that Brock Lesnar is not involved in this championship tournament. And I said, what the heck has WWE done? And here you take a look at this, the beast of incarnate Brock Lesnar, the freak of nature, and he's not involved in this tournament. So I'm very disappointed in that, because I think to myself, it probably will go down in the hands of time of that. To me, it should be Brock Lesnar should be one of those that should have been in the tournament and been able to go for it all. And I just couldn't believe my eyes on this. I mean, I'm very it'd be interesting. It will actually, in a way, it will be interesting to see what WWE has to do with the Brock Lesnar, the Beast of Incarnate. It'd be interesting to see what comes out, what transpires, and so forth. So it'd be interesting to see in the upcoming years as to what WWE will do to Brock Lesnar. And the final topic here on this podcast is to discuss the WWE Hall of Fame 2016. Here's what I think should be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2016. Christian had a remarkable career here in the WWE. Former WWE Tag Team Champion and Intercontinental Champion and World Heavyweight Champion. The Freebirds, I can remember watching the Freebirds and the Von Erichs during the World Clash Championship Wrestling days. The Freebirds and the Von Erichs tore down the house down in Texas, and the Freebirds also had great matches down in the NWA, WCW days, as well as they met the Steiner brothers and a whole lot of other teams. I think the Hall of Fame should be called the Freebirds to the Hall of Fame. Diva, Sable has set the bar for a lot of unique matches, from evening gown matches to brawl and painting matches. If the Freebirds and Sable get into the Hall of Fame or don't get into the Hall of Fame this year, I will be disappointed. Other other person also should be into the WWE Hall of Fame. Should be The Undertaker. No one in the WWE deserves more than The Undertaker. Just look at the awesome figure, the song. There was no one in the WWE could ever come close to playing as The Undertaker. And to me, The Undertaker is the best pure WWE superstar there is. And what some people could say, The Undertaker is the best leading the way in the early 90s and presented to this decade. The Undertaker is the only man that I think of. I went through 2 decades, and The Undertaker did in fact said one thing that is true to the WWE. That in fact is the WWE Undertaker has seen a lot of wrestlers come and go, and see the Undertaker's last last match this past Hell in a Cell. Only will time tell. The Hell in a Cell match with Brock Lesnar was a great match, but as Brock Lesnar got the job done and ended his chapter, and we'll also learn that the coming WWE Survivor Series will also mark the 25th year since The Undertaker. Now I'm excited now to see what the WWE is going to do at Survivor Series. Make sure you get the WWE Network. So again, definitely subscribe to the WWE Network and get everything completely anything. Watch for $9.99, order your free month trial and watch the WWE Network and get everything free. And I forgot to mention on one of those divas in the Hall of Fame, I think Chyna also should be involved in it. But you know, the Hall of Fame does have its boundaries. But anyways, this is it for my episode of the podcast. My name is Jamie Taylor. Until we catch you next time on the Jamie Taylor podcast. Goodbye, everybody.